magic sky. Is it real? Are they dreams? Nothing appears to be what it seems. Then far away I can hear a voice in the weather house call out a name. Mr. Brolly, it's time for the rain.
Harry was trying to go to sleep, but no sooner had he closed his eyes than he opened them again. Tucked up beside Harry in bed were his toys, Elephant and Hippo. Snake, as always, lay on the rug by the door, and Bird was perched on the chest of drawers. Harry stared down at his patchwork quilt. It was different from other quilts. Instead of flowery scraps of material, it was made of little embroidered pictures of rainbows, stars and planets, clouds, and great flashes of lightning in a dark and stormy sky. It had been made a long, long time ago. On the wall hung Harry's weather house. If the day was going to be fine and sunny, Mrs. Brolly came to her door. If the day was going to be wet and cloudy, Mr. Brolly came out. But of course, they never came out together, for it is impossible for a day to be both wet and dry at the same time. But what would happen if they both came out together? Wondered Harry, and he sat up and stared at the weather house. As he stared, the doors seemed to grow larger. His bed grew smaller, and he found himself at the entrance of the weather house. A light was shining from the door, through which Harry could see Mr. Brolly no longer fixed to his wooden stand, but moving freely about the room. How hot it was. Even in the weather house, it was just the same. Mr. Brolly, couldn't you make the weather cooler? Asked Harry. My boy, look out of the window, said Mr. Brolly. Harry went to the window. Outside, where the garden had stood, was a rainforest. Strange flowers bloomed. Thick vines and creepers hung from trees, and from amongst the branches and leaves came the cries and calls of birds and animals unseen.
Isn't it wonderful? Mrs. Brolly made it for me. She makes me one every year for my birthday.
To be given a rainforest for your birthday was very exciting, thought Harry, and he wanted to go and explore it at once. Hippy, cried the little cloud. He wants to go too, said Harry.
Of course he may. The three of us will have a glorious time.
Please, sir. Me too, sir, said Wilkins.
I'm afraid that the jungle heat might be a bit too much for you, Wilkins. You're such a delicate little flower.
Oh, sir, it's not fair, sir, said Wilkins.
Oh, very well. You may come too. I expect that little cloud will rain on you from time to time to keep you cool, won't you? Eh?
Pip, cried the little cloud, and he rained as hard as he could on Mr. Brolly's left boot.
Thank you, said Mr. Brolly.
With his boot full of water, he set off along the path. Little Cloud floated behind. Harry followed, carrying Wilkins in his pot. Mrs. Brolly called, "Take care!" And then she was gone, and a great flowering plant stood in her place. Harry, Wilkins, and Little Cloud were in a clearing in the forest. Not a creature could be seen, but Harry felt that eyes watched him from every bush. The next moment, Mr. Brolly strode into view. Harry was very glad to see him. But Mr. Brolly paused not at all, but merely strode on, crying,
"Follow me!"
Squelch, 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 went his wet boot. Harry, Wilkins, and Little Cloud followed the sound. And then it seemed to come from above their heads in a most curious manner. Squelch, squelch, squelch. "Please, sir, it's a mockingbird," said Wilkins. "We did mockingbirds at school." Harry looked up and saw the mockingbird sitting on the branch of a tree. It was so like his own little bird that he cried, "Oh, it's you!" But the bird just mimicked his voice. "It's you! It's you!" it cried. "It's mocking you, sir," said Wilkins. "That's what mockingbirds do." This was all very interesting, thought Harry, but where was Mr. Brolly? "Mr. Brolly!" he shouted as loudly as he could. "Mr. Brolly! Mr. Brolly! Mr. Brolly!" cried the bird. Murmurs and scratching came from behind every bush. Harry held tight to Wilkins' pot. Then someone cried, "Ho, ho!" and Mr. Brolly came crashing through the undergrowth once more.
"Oh, my boy, sometimes one thinks one is going somewhere, but really one is just coming back again."
He soon cheered up, however, and with a cry of
"Onward!"
he began to stride from the clearing yet again. "Mr. Brolly, wait for us!" cried Harry. But Mr. Brolly just turned and smiled.
"Go your own way, dear boy. Find something that the world has never seen before. A new flower, a monkey with a different kind of tail. Oh, wonderful wilderness!"
And with that, he disappeared into the bushes.
"We'll meet at the meeting place,"
came his voice as he went. "Where is the meeting place?" Harry called after him. There was no answer to his question. Mr. Brolly had gone, and not even the squelch of his wet boot could be heard.